This title has three interesting words. And know some of you may have joined us before and have a little bit of context. Some others may not. But it is always good to go back to certain basic understandings and grasp deeper meaning. And so these three words, soul, invisible, and traveler. And we will use the spiritual angle, the spiritual perspective to go into this topic, because of course in our day-to-day language and thinking, this word traveler may have a slightly different meaning than we use in the spiritual context. And because of the pandemic going on, lots of travel has stopped, and lots of definitely air travel, but otherwise also other kinds of travel has diminished, and it is gradually growing again. But the spiritual travel hasn't stopped. Traveling of the soul has not stopped. And so let us explore this understanding and what would be the benefit for me to hold that awareness of a traveler. One of the things that has happened with humanity over time, and even with the individual, at the individual level, as we grow up from childhood, growing into adulthood, we lose a certain attitude of playfulness, and we lose a certain attitude of seeing that bigger perspective of life and experiencing that adventurous nature that we could have towards life. And we also lose this journey attitude towards life. We get kind of stuck in certain thinking patterns, certain attitude habits, and the beauty of the experience is therefore many times lost. And so on the spiritual journey, the whole quest is to reclaim that nature of game, that nature of traveling, that attitude of adventure again. And then life situations may be what they are, but the quality of our experiences may be different and may be better. And so, traveler, I will use the whiteboard, and not because Rona has lots of talents to draw, but sketches help to understand certain principles, and sketch helps to see but when there is a visual, it helps to grasp certain things better. And so I'll use the whiteboard to kind of help us grasp. So if you see me looking down, it is because I'm looking at the whiteboard screen. I try, this might be better. So first of all, traveler means there is a certain movement, a certain motion going on. No? But when normally we have the feeling that the body is moving. No? When we are traveling, we're moving the body from one place to another place. But when we, for example, are watching a movie, we are also traveling. We are traveling, if we're watching a documentary, for example, on a different country or a different culture, or certain geographical sites, then we are also traveling, but through our mind. Maybe, but you see a certain visual, and through your mind, you picture yourself. You see certain things which are not in your physical surroundings. So that is like a mind travel, you could call it. So by seeing certain movies and certain documentaries, certain imagery, we can travel with our mind to a different place, but also to different experiences. You can experience a different culture by watching something on a screen. So there is not only this traveling that is connected with physical movement, but there is a movement of thoughts, there is a movement of consciousness that could also be called traveler. And so when we're talking about the soul, we are not talking about the body. No. We in the Raj Yoga understanding, we understand that there is a physical body, more or less. I told you already, Rona cannot draw very well. This is a body, but there is consciousness also. The being who is an experiencer, you could say the invisible experiencer. And we use the image of light to indicate that experiencer. It's like a star, and that star is associated with this body and uses this body to see, to talk, to interact, to experience and experiment. But the experiencer is the being of consciousness, and the being of consciousness has a mind and has a subconscious and has an intellect. And thought and experiences and feelings happen in the soul. And body has all organs, heart, lungs, and the digestive system, and the liver, and the spleen, and the kidneys, and the brain. That all belongs to the body. But the soul is the one who is experiencing. The soul is the one who creates thoughts, holds impressions, has memories from the past. That all is happening at the level of consciousness. And that is invisible. You can see Rona's face, but you cannot see Rona's thoughts. Thoughts are invisible, and thoughts are a product of consciousness. And the soul uses the brain for certain, to operate the body, to make the mouth move, to make sound, to hear, to see. But soul is like the driver of the body, the one who is operating the brain, operating the body. And so that being of consciousness, that is the real you. And your experiences and attitude and vision and perspective of life, thoughts and feelings, that is all happening at that invisible experiencer level, the soul. And so the soul experiences, for example, first of all, the body. And so on the journey of the soul in this physical world, the first experience of the soul is this body, the body itself, and the bodily sensations. and the sense experiences that come in through the senses. That is the first experience of the soul. Now, if we draw the physical world like this, below the line is the physical world. And in the physical world, of course, there are bodies and there are objects. This is supposed to be a house. There is a job, maybe. There are relatives and friends, and there is a culture and a country, and there is entertainment, and there is, of course, dollars, and there is your electronical gadgets, and there is nature. This is supposed to be a tree, and there is the animal kingdom, and all kinds of variety of things in this physical world. And the traveler, the soul, comes into the physical world at some moment in time. Enters the physical world and associates with a body to experience the physical world. Uses the body. It's like, you could say, the body is like a car, and the soul gets into the body and the car and starts using the car. But the soul travels through the physical dimension with that and has an experience of that physical world, and at some stage leaves the physical world again. Lets go of the body. A traveler. This is the context. And the traveler travels with his luggage or travels with his vehicle. But the experiencer is the traveler, not the vehicle in itself or the luggage. You wouldn't call luggage the traveler. You will call the one who is using the luggage or holding the luggage the traveler. So it is the being of consciousness who is traveling and uses the body on the way of the travel, on the journey. Now, if we understand life as a journey, and not just on a physical level, no? We are sitting now here in one place. So physically, we are not traveling at this moment, but we are traveling in our mind to a different mindset. Seeing the same surroundings, but in the consciousness of a traveler, there are different kinds of thoughts than when I would look at this as the feeling that I am here and this is mine and I own this and this belongs to me forever and I will stay here. Whilst if there is the consciousness of a traveler, then there is the awareness, I will move on. And the things here I will not carry with me. So what is the mindset of a traveler? Whether it is a conscious thought or just a subconscious attitude when one is traveling. Many times we travel because one reason why we travel is we want something new. No? The one wants a change of scenery. So you want something new, something different, a break from what normally is in the surroundings. So the traveler and traveling is associated with newness. Now, if there is the attitude of traveling, if the soul holds that attitude of traveling, then we can see that every moment is a new moment. The newness is not only in terms of physical circumstances, but every moment is new because every moment I can choose new thoughts to think. Every moment I can concentrate on something new. Every moment one can, through thoughts, invoke a different set of feelings, even though physical circumstances may be the same. The traveler attitude is of newness, a change. Another reason why there is traveling is because, what is the word? You want fun or entertainment. So to have that attitude of is it observing an entertainment. Every interaction with, whether it is with nature, whether it is with others, whether it is with a certain environment, every interaction can be experienced as a, what is it? As an filling of our a new time. No, that is not the right word. As an entertainment, not just looking at this body, for example. How this energy of the soul, the life force, and the consciousness makes this body move. This is a little miracle, not just entertainment, it is a wonder. Just to observe, these fingers, these eyes are little miracles. This mouth is a miracle. Ears are miracles. And bodily sensations, the heart beats and it pushes the blood to the different organs in the body. How the lungs function. It is an amazing thing. And to observe this with that traveler attitude, with that observer attitude, with that attitude of soul is being entertained by all the biological phenomena happening just alone in this body, let alone anything else. If we look at the sky, is another miracle. Sometimes there are clouds, there is rain, there is snow, there is sun, there are all kinds of things. That observer mode is part of the traveler. And to see the different phenomena, no second is the same on this big journey. The soul is on this big journey. Every moment there are changes in the body. Every moment there are changes in our environment. The soul is taken on a big journey through many, many, many different experiences. Another reason or another thing that happens when we travel is there is a learning experience. We learn, we are exposed to something different, we can learn. Another reason why we can travel is that as part of newness, to have new interactions, new interactions. Another reason, or what is connected with some of the previous ones, is because there is this spirit of adventure. And adventure means you like a challenge. You like something that, yeah, is new, is combined with it, but also that challenge. Now, this bigger physical world provides us with all of that. There is newness going on all the time. If the mindset is right, we can experience it as entertainment, as fun. We can see it as a new learning, adventurous, because it brings all kinds of variety and unexpected, unpredictable scenes in front. The traveler can be all the time fully involved, but the traveler never forgets that he is on a journey. And the virtue of a traveler is that he can let go. And the virtue of a traveler is also less or no expectations. So, write this properly. Expectations. Say, for example, a traveler, a tourist, goes to New York City, and there is the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, and he knows and he enjoys those high-rise buildings. But then the next stop is Miami, for example. He doesn't expect the Statue of Liberty to be in Miami. He knows Miami is a different scenery. And in the attitude of the traveler, he can enjoy every new scenery. He doesn't carry the past with him and project it on the present. Or he doesn't expect the present to continue on in the future, because the next moment of the journey may be completely different scenery. Next moment of the journey may be a completely different experience. And that is fine. That is actually understood, that is the nature of traveling, the nature of a journey. And so a traveler, and one who is in a traveler mindset, doesn't hold on to things or to people, or doesn't hold expectations to that things continue forever. A traveler understands and is prepared for change. And a good traveler is also prepared for unpredictable change. And a very good traveler is even prepared for radical change. Sometimes people go on a journey in certain places of the world. There is sea, and it is the tropical or pleasant temperature weather for the ocean, and there is bathing and swimming, and then they go in the mountains the same day or the next day, all the way high up in the mountains there is snow. They go skiing or they go uh, climbing, but in harsh and cold weather with snow. Complete change of scenery. And nowadays, with the possibilities of technology, even physically, we'll travel in a matter of hours, and we are in a completely different continent, a completely different setting. And travels means all kinds of sceneries are possible. Even in when people go on holidays, there are different possibilities. You can go to a desert if you want to. You can go to a busy, bustling city if you want to. You can go high up in the mountains. You can go on a almost uninhabited island and just sit on the beach your whole vacation. People go on jungles and survival trips to the jungles, and they climb in the mountains. All for these days, even space tourism is becoming popular. So this travel mindset expects, or not expects, understands that there is a variety of possibilities. Now, as a spiritual being, can we have that same understanding and that same attitude towards life? Then one will not be overwhelmed. Then one will not be disappointed or disillusioned or complaining or shocked or sad or depressed, but as a fun, different varieties of scenery, different varieties of interaction, variety of people, variety of mood, variety of response, variety dynamics with nature. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's rainy, sometimes it's dry, sometimes it is windy, sometimes there is a hurricane. Variety of possibilities. Body itself. One time, some stage body is relaxed, other time body is exhausted, other time body is comfortable, other time there is the sensation of heat, sometimes the sensation of cold, sometimes the sensation of pain. Variety of sensations and experiences. When there is the awareness of the self as this invisible being of consciousness who is a traveler. And so, just to draw it a little bit differently, if this whole physical world is like a box, draw it like a box, and there is the non-physical dimension where the souls, the beings of consciousness originally reside. So this is like the home of all of us souls. Enter that box, the physical dimension, we travel, and then at the end of the journey, soul goes back home. But soul is innately bodiless. No? So taking on the body is like the travel suit or the travel vehicle, which can only be used within the physical dimension. And this travel attitude, this travel mindset um, will help us see the fun in life, see the entertainment in life, or see the adventure that is life, or see the richness in terms of learning of life. Or the traveler will see how it mentally can empower us. But the traveler also, this virtue of letting go means the traveler is not in bondage, not in bondage to any one place, to objects, but the spiritual traveler, the soul, is not in bondage to even this body. At one moment in time, the soul comes from the soul world into this body or associates with the body and uses the body just like one uses a car. But after a while, this body comes to the end of the lifespan, and so the soul leaves the body. Body returns to nature, returns to dust, but the soul continues with the journey. Now, the end of a car doesn't mean the end of a driver. And the end of the car doesn't even mean the end of the journey. The driver just gets out of the car and associates with another car or goes by foot or whatever, takes another vehicle. So in the same way, soul also. On this journey through the physical dimension, the traveler can take on a variety of bodies. And to hold this understanding and this awareness makes the soul even more free. Because body itself is part of the journey's experience. Some body is brown and female, that is in one experience of the soul. Another body, a next body may be male and maybe white or maybe black, dark skin body. Soul may be traveling from one culture to another or from one religion to another religion within one lifetime, but also from one physical experience to the next physical experience. If there is the true understanding of the self being this non-physical being of consciousness, and if that awareness of spiritual identity becomes more and more strong, then we see even the physical role as part of the journey. And that physical role can change. Another body, another experience on the journey. And so that freedom of freedom of fear, freedom of negativity, freedom of complaints, freedom of vices becomes so easy to grasp once we come out of this identification with body and bodily characteristics or with role and objects and people and position and possessions. The traveler mindset is free from identifications, free from attachments, and free from bondages. A traveler enjoys experiences, learns, has fun, uses the skills, goes through the adventure, takes the hurdles, or even fails for certain hurdles, but never gets stuck. A traveler doesn't get stuck in the same thinking patterns, even moves on to different ways of thinking and seeing and exploring. And so this whole life in the physical world can be seen as an adventure. And when one comes into this adventure traveler mode, understanding the self to be a timeless, invisible, non-physical being of consciousness, there can be that deeper feeling of being secure because the home is eternal. True self is eternal, imperishable. And so even if the body goes, or some illness or physical death, is just another experience on the journey of the soul. The real self is beyond harm. And so whatever happens to the body, whatever happens on this journey, it is just part of the journey experiences. Now, of course, saying this may be easy. We all know that there are kind of challenging scenes on this journey. But to practice this consciousness when the going is good makes one more prepared when there are hurdles and obstacles. I will stop here and leave some time for questions, and then we can, after the questions, we can have a meditation. Are there any questions? I think you can open your mic.
I have.
Go ahead, Madhura.
Yeah. So is the traveler perspective something that you should have for life? Is it, can you sort of balance it out with some other type of behaviors, and overall be a traveler? Like, is it for life, or is it something not for life?
It is, the soul is a traveler, no? The soul, but so someone who is in soul consciousness, someone who is aware of the self as a spiritual being, can have different states of consciousness. No? So one state of consciousness is the observer. One can be in that observer state of consciousness. One can be in that guest state of consciousness. One can be in a trustee state of consciousness. One can be in an angelic state of consciousness. One can be in an experiencer state of consciousness. One can be in an actor state of consciousness. Soul as an actor and the body as a costume. Please check your mics. And the traveler is one state of consciousness that is very useful. And so the soul is a traveler, but the soul is also an observer. The soul is also a guest. And according to circumstances, according to what is the word? According to the situations the soul goes through, different states of consciousness are useful to apply, because the whole aim is to always experience that deeper sense of peace, to always experience a deeper sense of joy, the innate nature of the true self, the innate nature of the higher self is of being secure, is of freedom, is of joy. And these different states of consciousness help us to hold those original experiences whilst interacting with the physical world. And so it would be great to have soul consciousness for the rest of your life. And whether the angle you choose to play with always is traveler, that is fine. But at other moments you may find it more useful to hold that awareness of a trustee, or to hold that awareness of a player. But any one of these states of consciousness that is connected with soul consciousness, the aim is to have that. And just play with it for yourself and see the fruit of it. It is, soul is a traveler, and if we are aware of it, then we can experience the benefits of that consciousness.
So, in order to live a successful life as a soul conscious person, should you always be a detached observer for all your life, or can you balance it out with other behaviors? That's my question.
The detached observer is a whole other hour to properly explain, but it depends a little bit what you mean by success. But spiritually, the definition of success means no sorrow. Spiritually means the definition of success is free, emotionally free, to be happy. And if you want to be always happy and peaceful, or at least increase the quality of your experiences in terms of peace and freedom and joy, then that detached, involved attitude with the physical dimension is essential. Because moment one get into attachment, and attachment just means bondage, means your thoughts are pulled there, your emotions are pulled there, physically you are pulled there, and without it one experiences loss. Without it one experiences anxiety or pain or suffering. And so that dynamic mode of being involved but emotionally independent is essential to be able to not get into the trap of anxiety or stress or fear. Now, for example, in interactions with others, we can enjoy an interaction with others as long as we are emotionally independent. If we feel we need that person to be happy, we need that person to be around, to be peaceful, then we are all the time anxious if that person is out of sight, if that person is not there, or if that person doesn't love me anymore, doesn't want to be with me anymore. And even if the person is nice and everything is good, there still is some anxiety because tomorrow it may change. Because this is the nature of this drama of life, this physical world, this story of human life, is there is constant change, and change is unpredictable. And so that emotional independence is essential to be successful, to have that peace, and to experience a deeper joy and contentment and freedom. And so, of course, most of the time we might not be in that detached, involved observer kind of state. But if we are, the quality of our experience and of our life will be much higher. And so, why not go for the best? Since we are living this life and since we are in this journey, why not have the best experiences? And so, detached doesn't mean cold or I don't care, but detached means not in bondage, not pulled. Healthy relationships, main characteristic of healthy relationships, main characteristic of healthy relationships, healthy interactions, is that if the person is there, I am good and content and happy. If person is not there, I'm still good and content and happy. Otherwise, that relationship is a bondage. And moment we get into these entanglements and dependencies, that moment one is vulnerable. And then sorrow becomes a part of the experience. But all
Okay.
these things are our individual choices. The moment that we know about it and we begin to grasp the method to go through this life, we are going through this life, but with what attitude and with what perspective? Okay, anyone else? There is, I think, time for one more question. No, actually, there is no time anymore. Tavana, please raise the hand. You can open your mic and ask the question. You need to unmute yourself. Hello, Tavana. If not, maybe that question was already answered. Yeah, go ahead. We can't hear you. Not sure if mic is open, but we can't hear the sound.
So when it comes to like spiritual enlightenment, you want to strive for the best. And I was wondering, in terms of traveling, if you see where you are, how do you know what spiritual mastery is? Like, how do you know when you're what is a standard or a state of being to get to the ultimate awareness of your consciousness? Like, everyone has a level of consciousness and awareness, but when it comes to like traveling or like vision, what are some like markers to where you ultimately like want to be supremely mission accomplished in your journey? Like, how do you know what vision or standards when you're traveling or you're a traveler? What should your soul like actually see as like progress? Like, you can see where you are, but what is like a standard for like spiritual, I don't know, most aware and most conscious? What are some markers? Like, what are those states what is that state of being? What is like that highest state of being? How do you know what that is?
Well, one, it is good to simplify things for the self. Of course, knowledge is vast, understandings and practices are vast, and that in itself is a whole journey. But one easy way to know whether you're moving in the right direction or whether you have reached a certain milestone is the experience of contentment under provocation. There is an inner state of contentment regardless of external situations. As a soul, the experience of the non-physical becomes like a reality. That is another, what is it? Destination. When you experience the self as this non-physical, timeless, immortal, God-like being of light, as in an obvious way, and you begin to see others also as that, separate from their physical role, and that the soul world, the home, becomes like a reality, and the eternal bonds of soul to soul that becomes like real to you. That is another what would be the word, milestone. Another milestone would be when there is no what would be the word, vice, no negativity within one's own consciousness, mind and subconscious mind. When there is such a broad perspective and such a deeper sense of being secure that there is no need for negativity. There is no need for behaviors and tendencies filled with vices. And so your own highest nature gets expressed and experienced, first of all, by the self. Those are some of the standards that you know. Nice questions, which that we could continue, but time is out. Let us have a few moments of meditation, and those who are interested in courses and ongoing meditations, please visit the respective websites that are available. The website of the Manhattan Meditation Center, the Peace Village website, the website of the Brahma Kumaris USA, and you will find different centers, different places where there are courses in meditation and spiritual knowledge. If you have interest to go deeper into this, these understandings and these practices, then follow them up. Okay, so let's have a few moments. And meditation is just the process of guiding your thoughts into a spiritual experience. First of all, take that inner positioning of reminding the self that the real self is this invisible traveler, invisible experiencer, the soul. And the image of light may help to focus and concentrate. But the real self is this subtle being, timeless, imperishable being of consciousness. This is what is called soul. And this word I, if it is used accurately, then it is used for this invisible being of consciousness, who is a traveler through time, through space, through many, many, many different experiences in the world of matter, in the world of the senses. But the traveler also has a home. The home is beyond matter, like a sky beyond the physical sky, bodiless, So drop the whole of the physical drama. And the self is just a pure, peaceful, blissful, free, living light. Tiny star in an infinite expanse of stillness, of silence, of light. Just immerse the mind in the awareness of traveler, and the traveler comes home. Home of peace. Home that is beyond thoughts of the world of matter. Just stillness and peace. Thank you. Continue to enjoy the journey and the traveler mindset. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, sis. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Rona. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. We'll see everyone on next Thursday.
Good night. Good night, Anita.
Om
Good
Shanti.
night. Om Shanti. Thank you, Sister Rona.